All right, Israel. Most High, Chris, bless your body. All right, so let's go to Luke chapter 12. Luke chapter 12. Let's see. And start at verse 34. Abunion, you want to read? Got to be nice and loud, okay? All right, go ahead.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 12, and verse 34. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
All right, for where your treasure is, there your heart is going to be also, Israel. So, concerning our personal treasure, where should our treasure, what should be the treasure that we should be seeking after? It should be the kingdom. Every brother and sister should be having inside of their mind that they want to make it into the kingdom of the Most High. And in making it into the kingdom of the Most High, they should be wondering, like, what do I have to do? That should be the treasure right there. That should be the most that should be the most important thing to every man and woman. It's not the job, the car, the house, family, husband, wife, son, daughter. It's not none of those things. It's the kingdom. Because that kingdom is left through our bloodline as a reward, and you just happen to be an eligible recipient of that situation, and you honestly trying to inquire of it. And trying to inquire of it is something that we gotta actually digest, because if we don't figure this part out, 2 Timothy 2, if you don't figure this part out, you're gonna lose sight of the prize. You're going to lose sight of, why am I reading the scriptures, searching the scriptures, being involved in what is known to be truth. So you can't lose sight of any of that. So 2 Timothy chapter 2. 2 Timothy 2 and verse 1. Read that. Start there.
This is the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2, and verse 1. Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Christ.
Right. So be strong in the grace. So this is what Paul, who adopted Timothy like a spiritual son. All right. So he said, for he told Timothy to be strong. So he's developing a relationship with Timothy, and he's gonna build Timothy's spirit. Okay, to keep him into the faith. So thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace. So now the grace is not saying that you have, you have leeway or you have license to sin. When you read Titus 2 and 12, grace is a teaching time frame that the Father have allotted us in our life. You know the dash between your birth date and your death date? You live in between that. That is the grace of the Lord. And from grace to grace, from day to day, from situation to situation, it's required that you become better, stronger, you increase in faith, you increase in knowledge, you increase in understanding. And as we're going to read in the book of Luke, it's going to be required for you to increase in everything that the Lord gives you. You're not supposed to continue to be stuck on stupidity. Stupidity is, let's say for instance, I'm a gambler. Well, you're a person of chance. You're taking a chance. You don't understand that there are millionaires and billionaires behind that situation, behind that wheel, and all you have to do is stand there long enough, and you're going to give all your bill money away, your food money away, your money to go back and forth. Then you're going to be begging, looking for a handout, wanting some brother or sister to loan you $100 so that you can get the cell phone cut back on, and then $40 so that you can buy a bus pass. So you can't. That's stupidity. So, but once you learn this truth gonna tell you to be content with your wages. You had a little money left over. Guess what? Tough titty. What's a tough titty like? No milk. Very little milk. You understand? Titty blowing dust. Powdered milk. It's tough. It's hard out here. You understand? It's hard out here for honest living, honest working person, man and woman. It's tough. You got to make ends meet. So in doing so, you can't just do anything that you want to do. So you're gonna stop blowing your money. You're gonna realize that, hey, let me hold on to that little piece of change I got. Maybe you can sell something that you don't need no more. You understand? Wait till you get paid again. Maybe you can drive less. You can eat out less. You can do many things less. I can have money in my back pocket and wait till I get home to get something to drink. I don't have to pull over at every Arabian tent, because that's what the Bible calls it. You just don't understand it because a lot of people are not in the Bible. The Arabians pitched a tent. It was a tent then. Now it's a brick building. You understand? Called Phillips 66. Called crowns. That's what they named their things, crowns, because the Lord said in the scriptures that He gonna make princes out of them on Abraham's behalf. Those are Abraham's sons. So I know who they are. Do you know who they are? So you'll pull up to the Arabian tent, give all your money to them, all the snacks, this, that, and the third, and then when it come time to get on the bus, you don't got bus fare. So you got to be smarter. So you're going to go from that to now you're going to keep change, and now you're going to be able to make it from check to check. So it's required for you to get smart. It's not required for you to get wicked. Oh, well, let me supplement myself by selling a little weed. And you're going to get your rental house kicked in, and then you're going to get evicted. Now you're on your sister's couch. It's everything, Yeah, I know it sounds humorous, but I'm telling you, everything exists, man. Everything exists. How'd you get to your sister's house? Then they got to tell somebody a lie. Oh, well, I'm just came back from out of town. Okay. So, where we stop at, man? Second tip, no. Yes? Okay. So we have to endure hardness. So I said from grace to grace and situations that we got to get better. Endure, be strong in the grace of the Lord. Grace is supposed to teach you. You in this grace, you got to be taught. You got to do things differently. Some of you, it's like you want somebody to do it for you. Nobody can do it for you. Just like we can't breathe for yourself. Breathe for you. What do you call a person that when you got to breathe for them? Literally, think about it. There is a situation where you have to breathe for somebody. You call that mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, right? That's because they ain't got themselves killed. And now you're trying to bring them back to life. So you're going to get down there and give them some of your breath. You're going to try to breathe breath into them. People cannot breathe. They cannot live your life for you, man. You got to stop smoking, excessive drinking. You can't do drugs. You have to endure. Grace got to teach you to stop that. And you're going to get wiser. Everything that the Lord tell you, everything that he teach you, when you do it, and when you know how to fight those fights of faith and not go back and do that stuff again, you're going to become a smart person. Okay? So now verse 2.
And the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also.
Right. So why did Paul say that? Let's think about it. And the things that thou hast heard of me. So he's talking about him. He's talking about you. He's not talking about me. He's talking about him. He actually giving you permission to talk about his life. How many of us here know some of the things that happened to this brother? He was shipwrecked. What do you think happens when you're on a ship and it wrecks? You're stranded, or you can drown and die. Drown. You cannot breathe water. That is a horrifying thing. That would make you never want to go near water again. You probably wouldn't even want to get in the tub. You know, that's a joke. Thinking that, you understand? Hey, he was bit by a snake, a poisonous snake, and everybody expected him to die. It's going to get you, man. Kill it in front of you. Wake up. You was fine. He wants Jamie. He going to be scratching in a minute. What else? He was stoned to death. Shalom. He was stoned to death. So the brother,
He's put in jail.
yeah. So the brother had some hard times. He was apprehended by false brethren. Yeah. So all of these things happened to this man, so that when we heard about these things, we could know that if we likewise, whether we fall sick, we're going to keep pushing. We're going to be positive. Whether we get jumped on for this word, because that's what that is. He got jumped on for preaching the word. As a matter of fact, they stoned him to death, left him for dead. I'm sure they stood over his body while he was unconscious. I ain't talking about they threw little rocks. No, they threw the type that would pounce off of you. They knocked him unconscious and left him for dead. And afterwards he got up, and the next day went into the next city and continued to preach. All busted up with his lumps and his bumps all over his head. So now when you read this, the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, you're like, people was there and seen this stuff happen to me. The same commit thou to faithful men. But tell what type of men? Faithful men, faithful women too. Because we all gonna run into challenges to where we're gonna be, you know, what do I do in this situation? Somebody want to kill me. I'm sick. You understand? I'm sick. I'm catching hell. I'm going through things. What do I do? Well, what did this brother do? He kept the faith. And he kept it moving. That's something I say to people all the time. Jay, keep it moving. Get over it. Keep it moving. It's not the end of the world. Send up prayers. Examine yourself. Shit, I don't know. I'm not the fly on the wall. I don't know. You know you better than me. So once you can examine what you did, straighten it out and keep it moving. Dust yourself off. Who shall be able to teach others from their experience? Hey, because the Father will let up off of us. He will heal us. Sometimes things happen to you for his grace. You understand? And his grace is not all the time, well, you did something wrong, now you got to be jacked up, and now you got to heal. But what I mean by for his grace is for his praise. So that it's going to make you a mouthpiece on how you went through this. You might not ever understand. Why did I go through this? Because in your mind, you're like, hey, I'm really fighting the best fight that I can fight. You know, I'm doing things the way that I know to do them. And, you know, if it's something different, I'm willing to do the thing that's different. But as of right now, I really don't know if it's something wrong, but you still suffer some type of affliction. Why? For the grace of the Lord, so that you can teach others how to push through this situation when you don't understand things. But I was afflicted. I'm still praying. I'm still fellowshipping. I'm still worshiping. I didn't change my mind. I can't change my mind. There's no else place to go. He got the words of life. He helped me through all of this. I'm sure he'll help me to understand what's going on when he's ready to open up my understanding. So this type of people commit these actions to. Others, it's foolishness to them. It's foolishness. They don't know what to do. So when, in this circle, when we teach this and we talk about this in this circle, one to another, it's to inspire one another to keep the faith and to fight the fight, regardless of what happens, regardless of what you go through. You keep your eye on the prize. Okay. So now, 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 3.
Thou therefore endure hardness.
Thou therefore endure hardness. Thou therefore endure hardness. Hey, when we serving the Lord, things gonna get hard, man. Life can get hard. Sometimes you can't pay your bills. Sometimes you're not mentally strong. Sometimes you're not physically strong. Sometimes people that you depend on, they unreliable. You can't explain why. You're like, hey, why are you like this? You can't explain why they unreliable. But it makes it hard for you. And sometimes we try to be the best that we can be, and people will still create an obstacle course when it ain't even need to, when it's not even needed. It's like you're doing too much. Why are you doing that? You do the most. And you good at it. You like the best. Being worse, good and terrible. Good and terrible. Why? So these hard times, whatever it is, the money ain't panning out, the bills can't get paid, the car acting up, you know, you emotionally sometimes a wreck. Shalom. Emotionally sometimes a wreck. You got to endure. You got to endure. And the best thing for you to do is to call up a faithful friend, man. Call up a faithful friend. And I'm going to tell you something that helps me. I could be experiencing death. I catch hell just like you, man. Believe it or not. But if you call me, Shamshwan gonna knock it the fuck off. Excuse my language. I'm gonna get it together because I got a job to do. And helping you, it just saved my life. Because I gotta believe in what I'm preaching. It's easy to help you. Helping ourselves is sometimes it's the hardest thing in the world. But I got you. Oh, do I got you to the moon and back. You ready? I'm going to help you fight. I got the scriptures. I got everything. But I can't understand and explain what's going on with me and why it's going on. As a matter of fact, sometimes I just need to take a break. But while I'm taking my break, that phone call, it saves me. People are like, I don't mean to disturb you, brother. It's like, don't even worry about it. You ain't disturbing me. I'm good. What's up? I can pull myself together. Now I got strength enough to deal in these scriptures because I got a job to do. And that job is to help you. And why I'm helping you, the Most High is somehow restoring me. Because now I have the strength to help somebody else. In the same scriptures, they like bouncing back off of you. That vibration that I got to give to you is the very same thing that I need to help myself. So y'all remember that, okay? So if you're going through that hard times, you know, pick up the phone and call somebody, you know, ask for help. Okay, ask for help. We have a support system. And that's what we went over in the last class in Ephesians, the 4th chapter, about every joint supplied and how we supposed to be compacted together. You understand? And I remember it's telling you that means very close. You know, you can be hundreds of miles away, maybe thousands of miles away, but at the same time, all you gotta do is pick up the phone. You know, I got a brother in Africa. He pick up the phone, but he's from England. He pick up the phone. I've been talking to him for a couple of days straight now. He say, man, you know, I'm doing the best that I can. I'm fighting. You know, it's some things I heard that I don't understand. You know, why Northern Kingdom is fighting with the Southern Kingdom and this and this. And he said, man, just to get the truth and to get restored and just to know what I really supposed to do and what part I play, I call you to see what's going on. What am I supposed to do? I told him, back up. That's not your fight. So that's not your fight. You ain't got to get into the middle of that, Shalom. You get into the middle of that. And after going through the scriptures, he was so glad that he had reached out and appreciated getting into the scriptures, because all it did was have him in the midst of confusion. See, this is how Satan works. Satan will come with the scriptures. I mean a person, but it's Satan. Satan will come with the scriptures and then bring in the flesh. He'll bring in emotions, his opinion, some outside source. Satan will bring in, and because it's mixed, it'll make you think that this mindset is great. That mindset is wicked. Run. Run. Y'all gotta narrow down who you open your ears and your eyes to. The Bible tells you, be at peace with many, but nevertheless, you ain't gonna listen. It says, have but one counselor. Out of 1,000, Paul himself said, hey, though you have 10,000 instructors in Christ, yeah, I have begotten you. So you have 10,000 people trying to teach you. You got to be careful with that. Once I was able to help him to see, to rightly divide, what's your job? Because Satan is going to stay busy. Satan is smarter. Satan is smarter than everybody on this planet. The only way that you can beat Satan is to resist him. But you can't play Satan's game, which is the world, and beat him. You are a fool, man. You are a fool. You can't play Satan. You can't go into the world. You can't go into the world and then try and compete with him. You're going to lose, man. He's going to tempt you. Because everybody has some type of lust. And all that's in the world is the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the cares of the world. That's why I said you got to keep your eye on the prize. And the prize is the treasure, and the treasure is the kingdom. And in order to get the kingdom, you got to fight your behind off. you got to be like the old school sisters. The old school sisters didn't bounce forward and backwards. What do? They just hit you with the windmill. And every now and then put that foot up. Bam! And they won. That was funny. I'm sorry. You know, I'm not promoting brawling, but hey, who do you remember that, man? Y'all remember seeing that? Yeah, seeing the sisters back in I was a child, but the 70s and then the 80s, they'll be fighting. They'll just be swinging their hands like this, and then they'll be like, you know how you gonna jump rope? You know, we wait to come in. They'll just be swinging their arms like this, and then waiting to see, you know, edge and who gonna come in and get hit by, and their arms didn't get tired. They fought like that, and and then the foot. Oh my God, it was hilarious. The foot just went up. All right, and don't get caught. Because if you get caught, they'll grab the top of your head, and then now they swinging with one arm. And that one arm was a stretched out uppercut. The arm was all the way, what wasn't it? The arm was all the way out, and then it went back this way. Boom, 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 boom. And you was getting your face knocked off, man. It was crazy. So you gotta fight this fight, man. You gotta fight this fight. All right. So now, verse 4. 2 Timothy 3 and verse 4.
No man that warreth entangle himself with the affairs of this life.
Stop for a second. You wanted to calm down. This is a relax zone. If you tense like Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Terminator, it's going to be a long ride, brother. Start over. Tell us where we at.
This is the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2 and verse 4.
Go ahead.
No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life.
So now we're saying how to keep our mind on the prize. You can't get entangled with the world. Everybody that tangles themselves with the world, in order to keep the thing that you got tangled with, you got to go outside the truth. And in order to keep it, you got to stay out there. Yeah, you got to, whether it's a job, whether it's a status. Yeah, Israel loves status, man. That's what status. Anyway, what's S-T-A-T. Israelite status. Yeah. You like status. You know? And so in order to maintain that status, you might have to be a workaholic. So wherever your treasure is, your heart is, that's where your treasure. You might have to be a workaholic. Work 2 jobs. So I grew up as a child with this female that works in a grocery store. And she always sees me shopping with my wife, and she's always polite. And this is actually good news, gospel. So by it being good news, you know, we want to spread it. So when I went to ask her about herself, you know, she told me her busy schedule, you know. She only got time to sleep. She got 2 jobs. You know, I don't know. No, I don't remember where they're like children and stuff like that. But all I can remember is every time I see her, I was like, you would never find time to serve the Lord. And it was because she had to pay. She had to pay for her house and pay for her cars. 2 jobs, day and night. She worked up at the Snooks. She worked someplace else too. Just like today, I run into a brother I ain't seen in over 20 years. He was all drunk and stuff. I pulled up on him. He told me stuff we did, I forgot. I said, yo, brother, I wanna really get with you, man, and talk to you, but you got to be sober. So I'm gonna bring you around some brothers. Because, I mean, he brought back deep memories, man, where, you know, We were riding as teenagers and doing all type of crazy stuff. You remember that? He was drunk. I was like, no, brother. I was like, somewhat I did remember some of the stuff, but, we used to dress up and go out and hang out and stuff like that. I always had the car. But he said he'd been down 25 years, man. He said he spent 15 years and then come out and did something else. And then he went back and did another 10. He said, I'm through with crime. I'm through with crime. He said, all I do is come out here, man, sit around and drink. I said, all right, brother, well, I'm going to give you my number. You call me, man. I want to talk to you. I'm going to introduce you to something. When you was in jail, did you hear about the Hebrews? He said, yeah. I said, all right. Then he said his sister was one. I know his sister. He said, yeah, she's... And check this out. So then he said, yeah, I've been over her house, and then I was sitting down, and then they was blowing. He said they had the candles lit, like 6 candles. He said 6 though. He said they had like 6 candles lit. I said 7 and some more. He said, yeah. Then he said, and somebody was talking, and then another person was reading. I said, so yeah, somebody was reading, another person was breaking it down. He said, yeah. I said, okay. I said, well, I want to get with you, man. Try and help my friend. He's drunk now. He said, I don't do drugs. I just drink. Then he said, well, in moderation. I said, all right, brother. Well, we're going to see. Well, I'm going to try and help you out. So people can fall on the hardest times. So anyway, you can't get caught up while you got your eyes on the prize. You can't do that. Israel, always remember that. I'll put the truth first. And I don't think that it's a coincidence. I don't think it's me. I know it's the Most High. I don't have a problem with food, raiment, funds, transportation. I fight a good fight, and I gotta work. If I did not work hard, then I would have a problem. But because of the keeping of the laws, the Most High always provides. You understand? But I don't get entangled with the world. I don't sneak around and have a double life. Have a double life. Have secret sins and stuff that I hide and cover it up from y'all. I'm not like that. I'm not that type of guy. I don't do that. Everything is honest. Everything is transparent. That's because I got the prize. I got a bigger reward, and I feel and I believe that in making those sacrifices and just giving up on this world and on life, that the Most High is going to pay me back. I believe that because He's providing right now. So I'm encouraging you, brothers and sisters, not to get caught up in this world in no shape, form, or fashion. Because if you do, you're going to be wondering, like, why? Why? You think the phone call is, surely this not helping. I mean, surely this not hurting. Oh, it's hurting you. The communications, the evil communications, surely the communication with this person is not stopping. I'm not finna let nobody, man or woman, come between me and the Most High, because that's the person that's feeding me, not me myself. So no man at war. This is 2 Timothy 2:4. No man at war. No man. Come on, man. No man or woman that's fighting entangleth himself with the affairs of this life. You got to be like, I'm done with you. So then what do? Go provide things honest. That means make an honest living. Be respectable. Earn respect by respecting yourself and others. Ruling you, man. Ruling your space. This is my space. Rule it, man. Everything around you is out of complete disarray. It's out of order. But you still got to be the sharpest person at work, the strongest person at work, the wisest person at work, because you are the disciples of Christ. You are the followers of God. You hold this mystery, and you got to be found faithful regardless of what the conditions are. When you do that, people will then respect you. When they once disrespected you, when they once didn't know how to feel about you, now they see you at an elevated level. We just come through the door like, this my fringes. Don't you know what this means? Do you know who I am? You know, and no, they don't know who you are. They don't know what that means. You understand? Yeah. Actions are weighed. People weigh your actions. They would tempt you. They would try you. And then once you are tempted and tried and found faithful, then you get the respect. Yeah. Then you get the respect. But if you go through the things, if you entertain them and you do what they do, you're just an ordinary person. And we're not ordinary. We are extraordinary. That's how you gotta that's how you gotta look at all this information that the Most High gave you. You are distinguished. That's how you gotta look at everything that the Most High gave you. You have to process it, you gotta think about it, and then you gotta put it into motion. And that's gonna distinguish you from any other person. And you still know how to conversate with them, talk to them, deal with them, and be with them. Okay? You got to know how to be all things to all people. Okay? And then, when somebody refuses to just, be at an acceptable or a reasonable socialite, then I just don't have nothing for you. We understand what I'm saying? Because there is an acceptable conversation. There's a reasonable conversation. We're going to keep it here. It's not about sin. We're just socializing. We're talking about things that we deal with or we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And if it gets out of whack, if it gets wacky, where there's sowing discord or murmuring, okay, now, I'm going to correct that. And if they don't want to take correction, then I'm going to redirect it. If they don't want to be directed, then okay, I'm going to opt out. Okay, we'll talk again, sis. And when we talk again, we'll try this at another time. Because, you can't just erase some people out of your life. This is a co-worker. You get what I'm saying? That's a co-worker. They gonna be there for some years. So you can't just erase them, but you can come back later. You can opt out. You can opt out. You get with them later. Can't erase them though. Because we're bigger than that. We know how to bring peace to a situation. We got these commandments. We got these laws. So we know how to rule this. Our countenance, our body language, our steps in James. Slow to speak, swift to hear, slow to wrath, slow to anger, because wrath ain't gonna work the righteousness of the Father. We know how to bring forth the fruit of the Spirit. We know how not to get entangled in the affairs. We know how not to do that. People will look at you like you are great. They will see this in you, man. And they will compliment you. But you gotta endure hardness. Because the world is cold, the world is hard. And when I say cold, I ain't talking about, it's just 65 and 57 degrees. I'm saying they are heartless. They don't care about you. You have got to care about this. And when you care about this, because this is a growing process, naturally, there's going to be some form of separation. I mean, I'm with you. I just don't do what I'm not doing what you're doing. I'm talking to you, but do you notice I'm not yelling at you? I'm really trying to be reasonable, but do you notice I'm not using profanity? Everything that lied within me, I'm here, and I'm actually not giving up. I'm just trying to show you that I'm really not the enemy. So I'm not getting entangled with you. And then after you've depleted everything, you can always just say, hey, let's deal with it at another time, man. Because you know you're really not being reasonable. And then you go. That's just one aspect. Nobody, if you're fighting this, you ain't got time to get caught up in the affairs of this world. Why? We at 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 4. Listen to the reason why it's the last precept. Go ahead.
That he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier.
That he may please him. This is why we go through the, I know that what I'm saying, it sounds like, man, do you really do that? I really do. I really do. I really fight that fight, man. That's how I know to tell you. And I do it because it says that he may please him who have chosen him to be that soldier. So he's chosen each and every last one of you to do it. You just got to learn how to do it. Everybody understand that? You got to learn how to do it. Read verse 4.
And if a man also strive for mastery.
This is our point. What is the masteries? It's the prize that we was talking about. If you striving for that, go ahead.
Yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully.
Yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully. So how do we get to that kingdom? We gotta strive lawfully. So now, how do we possess that spirit to do the things that I'm speaking on, using the scriptures, trying to explain it to us? How do we get that spirit to endure that contradiction level? We get that spirit by striving lawfully. Everybody understand? Yet is he not crowned. You don't get it. You won't get the understanding. You won't get the spirit. You won't get the knowledge. You won't get the experience if you don't actually go through the actual steps, man. And you gotta endure. Okay? Let's get that precept about that. Let's see. Hebrews 12. Okay, Hebrews chapter 12. Verse 3.
This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 12 and verse 3. For consider him that endures such contradictions of sinners against himself.
Right. For consider him. When you consider somebody, that means you think very deeply. What if you were a supervisor or a boss and you need to consider somebody to hire them? Before you give them the position, you're going to think what very deeply. You're going to think about, their work ethics, their commitment, punctuality, their personality. And if everything checks out, and if the more you know about that person, the more you're going to be like, wow, yeah, give him the job. Yes, that's that person. If I can get that person committed and to show up, I've got a good employee. So now, he's going to fall. So now, Christ, you know, he fits all of that and more. Hold this and let's get 1 Peter 2. Okay. So 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 21. Read that.
This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 21. For even hereunto were ye called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example.
So Christ suffered, okay? He suffered for us. He left an example. Go ahead.
That ye shall follow his steps.
Go ahead.
Who did no sin.
Right, who did no sin. So he did no sin. So Christ, he went through a lot of stuff, and he did no sin. And it's going to tell you some of the things that he went through. Go ahead.
Was guile found?
No, stop. You're reading it wrong. Just relax. Go ahead.
Neither was guile found in his mouth.
Neither was lies and deceit. Okay, found in his mouth. Go ahead.
Who, when he was reviled.
Right, when he was reviled. You know what it is to be reviled? That means to be spoken evil of, to be disrespected, and to be railed on, to not have in regard. So Israel, when they reviled him, they broke the law. Thou shalt not revile the gods, because Yahweh is a judge in Israel. He is the judge. Go ahead.
Revile not again.
He didn't revile not again. Okay, let me look up the definition so we can get it. Bear with me. Reason why I want to look this up for you, so that you can see that this happened to him. What's up, Jude? Shalom. So now, listen up. It says, excuse me, revile, criticize in an abrasive and angrily insulting manner. So the Lord was criticized. He was criticized. They dealt with him very abrasive or abusive. All right. So he was mentally abused. They dealt with him out of anger. You know how it feels. You know how it is for somebody to deal with you out of anger. Nobody likes that, to be dealt with out of anger. They dealt with the Lord out of anger. Okay? An insulting manner. So the fashion that they dealt with the Lord was far from charitable. So some of the synonyms is condemn, attack, criticize, censor, slander, to knock, slam, roast. So they did all of these things unto the Lord. They talked very bad about him. But notice, it says 2 Peter chapter 2 and 23, who when he was reviled, he reviled not again. So he didn't argue back. He didn't go back and forth with them. He didn't take shot for shot. So Israel, if we're taking shot for shot, then we're not proving no points. We're going off, man. We're going off, shot for shot. They said it first, then we say it. That doesn't make us right. We're wrong. Because we have got to be the better person, the bigger person, the stronger person. Because we're being taught. That's why. And if somebody that's doing this, most likely they're not being taught. What's our excuse? Go ahead.
He threatened not. When he suffered, he threatened not. But committed himself to him that judges righteously.
But committed himself to him that judges righteously. So, in this precept right here, Christ got dealt with wrong. He got dealt with wrong. He didn't like it. He was hurt. He had feelings too. Yeah, sometimes he wept. Yeah, he wept. Hold this, go to Isaiah 53. Man, feelings, man. Okay, Isaiah 53, and I'll read it, verse 2. It says, he shall grow up before him as a tender plant. So the Father looking down upon Yahushua, and as a root out of dry ground. So he was coming up. The dry ground is Israel. Nothing grows because it's not watered. But that blade that stuck up out of the dirt was grace. He had no form, no comeliness. You would notice a flower coming up out of that patch of what? Crusted old ground, right? You would notice that flower. But this brother was just a blade. There's nothing unique, special about it. His appearance. And when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. So he didn't have that swagger that every brother is trying to put on so that people can like him and love him. Christ didn't have the swagger. See, the thing that the Father, the Most High, did was made it just like that. You gonna listen and pay attention and get it, or you gonna miss it. How many people slept on the Lord because of this right here? A lot of people. So much that they killed him, and only realized that after Satan had used him. By that time he was gone. And when Peter and them was preaching, and they realized it, they were pricked in their hearts, man. They was cut deep, man. They couldn't believe it. You see what happened with Judas, man. When he realized that he had betrayed the Lord, he tried to hang himself. He killed himself, man, because he realized the thing that he did. But verse 3, he is despised. How do you think he felt? Walking around having this knowledge, knowing that he's right and knowing that he's trying to help them, and they hated him for it. That would hurt everybody's feeling in this lobby, man, and even in here, man. That would hurt my feelings. To be despised, I know I'm right, and I'm only trying to help you, and I'm straight sincere. I really got love for you. But you think I don't, and I'm trying, and my efforts go out at naught, and then you straight despise all the attention and all the help that I'm really trying to put in. Then you play double-minded games like you hear it, and then okay, but you don't do it. You listening, but okay. That's games. How do you think that would make me feel, man? That's how it made him feel. And rejected of men. So he was despised and rejected. A man of sorrows. You see? Right there. So he had to deal with that. And he didn't get so mad that he railed back. Nope. We're going to show you what he did in that situation. He didn't let the situation make him or define him. He was already defined because the Most High had the Spirit on him. And then he let that define him. And that's all I'm trying to tell y'all. Let the Spirit speak for you. Let the Spirit represent you. Let the Spirit define you and create you to be who the Most High wants you to be. Not the environment. You're going to go through tough times. You're going to go through hard times. When you do, you got to stick it out. You cannot revert back to the old person because the old person didn't have answers. And acquainted it with grief. So he knew grief very well. So the same way, consider him. We went through that in Hebrews 12. Consider him who endured such contradiction of sinners against himself. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. Just imagine that. He coming and they run from him. They hid their faces. They turned away like, he gonna say something to us. They wanted to sin. And he knew he could see them. He heard them murmuring. Scribes and Pharisees and Sadducees that were bold enough to stand up to him. He heard them. Others, they just hid their face. And we esteemed him not. That's what he went through. So we're going to go through that too in this world. But complete opposite. Once you come around, that's why you got to be around a believer. Once you come around a believer, man, they going to call you a queen. They going to call you a prince. They going to call you a leader. They going to call you a brother, a sister. They going to respect you, man. But it's just when you go into the world that the Lord told you, know how, when you in this world, know how to deal in this world. Know how to, know how to deal in it. Don't get entangled. Some of you, I'm trying to make friends with this world. I'm trying to be buddies with it, in this world. It doesn't work. Cannot be unequally yoked together with unbelievers. You can't do that, man. I'm going to sit down. We're going to go to the bar. No, we ain't even eating snow cones, man. No. Vegan, so, what's that ice cream, but it's got milk. I ain't even eating the vegan ice cream with you, man. You gonna come to the school with me and these brothers, and we gonna get something. We gonna work you over. You know what I'm saying? We gonna show you the truth. And if you like it, then you can come back. And if you don't, then you're gonna go back to drinking and drugging. You see? But I can't do that. I gotta do this. And that's the mindset that y'all gotta be in. Because if I go out there, then I'm gonna experience this anyway. You're gonna experience this anyway. But here, this is where you're gonna get this love at, man. In the congregation, they're not just looking at you like you're nobody, you're nothing. They're looking at you like you're somebody, like you're special. His brother here, that king. He put king behind his name. But that, you go out into the street, you just another nigga, man. But you come around the congregation, man, then king, brother, we ain't taking that from you. We gonna call you by that. Yo, king, what's up? So that's the advantages. So now let's lose that, and we'll go back to Hebrews. No, we're at 1 Peter chapter 2. Hey, what's up, sis? Shalom. We was at 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 23. I'll read it. It says, when he was revolved, he revolved not again. And when he suffered, so we read his sufferings. He threatened not. He didn't get mad and say, forget y'all then. I'm gonna kill all of y'all anyway at the end of the world. He didn't do none of that. You see? He didn't do that. He didn't threaten. But he took his lumps, he let them do them, and look what he did. But committed himself to him that judgeth righteously. So he made himself no reputation. He was just like the rest of the brethren. He got in because Israel was playing dirty dog with each other, and they treated him like dirty dog. But what did he do? He didn't take advantage, knowing that he's, you know, the right hand of the power of the Most High, and the things go through. He didn't do that because all power is given unto him in heaven and in earth. But he didn't do that. He just put it in the hands of the Lord and say, you know what? You're going to judge between me and this matter. And he was always came out victorious, because despite the situation that, you know, had arose, he has stayed in the scriptures. And that's why, despite whatever situation that arises, no matter how people treat you, you know, you can run from people, man. You can leave people alone. You don't have to stay there and get yourself abused physically, mentally, emotionally, verbally. Don't take that. You can leave that situation. Okay, I get the precept to back that up to show you. You don't sit there and take that. But he counted, he put himself in the hand of the Most High. Okay? Go to Proverbs. Proverbs 14 and verse 7. It is. Okay, you can.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 14 and verse 7. Go from the presence of a foolish man, when thou perceivest not in him the lips of knowledge.
So, if somebody being abusive to you, can you leave, congregation? Every man, woman, and child, if somebody being abusive, can you leave?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Do y'all know to leave?
Yes, sir.
Right. Because they're doing what?
Abusive.
They're provoking you. Right?
Yes, sir.
So read it again.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 13 and verse 7.
Right.
Go from the presence of a foolish man, when thou perceivest not in him the lips of knowledge.
Right. So once you do everything that you possibly can do, and but I ain't saying to end up in a fight and now you finna leave, because you was fighting too. You still gotta get up out of that situation, but you gotta exhaust everything in that thing. I'm really trying to, hey, I'm holding the composure. No, it's not like that. This, you know. All right. Then it's okay to leave. So, Ashley, Shalom. It's okay to leave. Go from the presence of a foolish man when I perceive it, not the lips of knowledge. And don't make nobody make you stand there. Yeah, don't let them, you know, make you stand there. They're gonna make you, stand there. And brothers, don't. Years ago, me and the wife were younger in this truth, and we get into a disagreement, and I'm the man. I make her stay there. No, you can stay here and listen. No, listen. No, you're not going nowhere. But that didn't make things the better. So once I grew some more, then I understood. She needs to cool off. I need to cool off. And then once I understood this precept, either I found it or I understood it, it's like, okay. So she's trying to, And then I had to start listening, because as men, we don't always listen. I had to start listening, you know, to her say, well, what you're doing is provoking me, and I'm trying to respect you. I'm like, how am I provoking you? And I'm trying to this and I'm trying to that. Well, it's a lot to this and it's a lot to that. It's your countenance, some of the things I named earlier. That's how I know all of this stuff. I'm not just sitting here guessing. You understand? This is stuff I've been corrected on. So I know corrected means it's done. It's made better. You know, so it's countenance, it's tone, it's how you do things, it's what you say. And so, you got to be willing to let somebody get themselves together. So it's times where I would hear her say, well, just let me get myself together. And I knew that, okay, that's cool, because truth be told, that's what I would do. I would get into this conversation about this, whatever circumstance, and then, you know, say the last words, because as men, we gonna say the last words. We're gonna have the last say so. But then I would still be very disappointed or very upset. And instead, I was never the physical, I'm gonna pound you to death. I'm not like that, you know. But I would just go lay down. And that's one of my little things I always recommend to people, to go take a nap. Because when you do, you know, you send up prayers, I listen to classes, I fall asleep, you know, I fight that spirit. You know, that spirit leaves. Because it's under commandment by the Father, you know. If you're doing everything that you can to resist Satan, he has to leave you. You understand? You already left the situation. So now I'm on my cot, I'm praying, I'm listening to scriptures, I'm examining myself. What could I have did? You know, could I have said I'm sorry again? Could I have not been sarcastic? Could I have not showed the countenance? Could I have been compassionate? Could I? That's the Most High looking at you, seeing that you trying to fight. You doing, okay, say, get up, leave him alone. Get back, didn't you hear me? You understand? So, you know, now Satan got to leave you alone. And so now you lay there, the Most High put you to sleep. Bam. You wake up feeling funny. Like, damn, you know, I just went through this. Now let me go and make this right, because this ain't what it's supposed to be. So now you got a new, different attitude. You understand? That's what people that, you know, sound and stable-minded that's actually trying, that's how you do it. So you don't have to take that abuse. You can go ahead and separate, you know. Send up prayers, and then, you know, work, examine yourself, come back together, and try and work things back out. You know, sensible. You know, you're gonna realize that you ain't gonna remember what you was arguing about, or you ain't gonna remember everything that was said. So, Proverbs 14:7, go from the presence of a foolish man. Or woman. Some women will be foolish. Talking her behind off. You talk too much. I'll tell you if you're talking too much. It's like you're saying too much. You got a lot to say. Say this much. Get to the point. Yeah. Jeesh. You done said it like how many times already? You're confusing me. So I'm going to have to go from you. You're not going to like it. So. Look at Joshua. Is that me, Shem? Am I saying too much? It's a young sister. When thou perceivest not in him the lips of knowledge. So it's okay. Don't let them tempt you, provoke you to wrath, provoke you to anger. Okay? So we finished with that. We finished Peter so that you can see. We saw this is what Christ did. What else were we holding other than Luke?
1 Timothy.
Did we finish that? Was it 2 Timothy 6 or 2? Yeah, finish Hebrews. What was that? Hebrews what? Hebrews 12 and 3, right. It says, for consider him that endured such contradiction. So when we did consider him, because we had to go into his attributes. It told us, there was a prophecy in Isaiah 53 on the things that he would go through. And he endured all of those things. That's how we have to keep an eye on the prize. It says, lest ye be weary. So this is Hebrews 12 and 3. Because you're gonna let that stuff stress you. That's what that means. Lest ye be weary and faint in your minds. So let's look up the word faint. Lest you be faint in your minds, Israel. No, that's not what I want. Okay. Faint, weak, and dizzy. Weak and dizzy, close to losing consciousness. So now, if you don't consider how Christ did it, you won't believe that you could do it. Like, be honest. How many of you knew, how many of you didn't know that it was okay to listen to the steps after you've exhausted every avenue to leave this food? Be honest. How many of you didn't know that? After you've exhausted every avenue, leave this food alone. Everybody knew that? You didn't know? Anybody else? You didn't know? That's it? Come on. Don't be afraid. Let me see it. So now, hey, because some of you will stay there trying to convince and persuade somebody. And you know what is going to lead you? I'm going to read it again. It's going to leave you, if I can get the phone to come on, it's going to leave you, weak? It's going to leave you weak. Because you're trying to settle something that ain't going to get settled. You're trying to settle something that what?
Ain't gonna get settled.
That what?
Ain't gonna get settled.
One more time louder. That what?
Ain't gonna get settled.
Do it get settled? You be fighting all day. You be fighting all day. You gotta leave. You gotta get some air. You gotta give him or her some air. Once you get some air, that person gets some air, if God is in the midst of this situation between y'all, even though y'all having a bad thing, he got a way to deal with his servant. That's why Christ said that he didn't do it. He didn't retaliate it, but he put himself. Wait a minute, where is it? Hebrews 12 and where is that? Huh? No.
No, it's
1 Peter 2. First Peter 2. Okay, read the part that I want. Yashala. But
1 Peter 2 and last precept. But committed himself.
Right. So stop. Everybody see it? He committed himself. So when he knew that it wasn't going to work out with the foolish, he didn't go back and forth with him. He committed himself. Go ahead. To him. He said, okay, because we've been trying to commit ourselves to the fool. And the fool been trying to destroy. The fool just will keep on being a fool. The fool don't care about us, man. But he committed himself to him. That's to the Most High. Go ahead.
That judgeth righteously.
Right, he going to judge righteously. And when he judge righteously, you know what he going to do? He going to give us the spirit to do what? To see our fault. He going to give us the spirit to see our fault. Because having somebody come back to you, apologizing, yep. That's not for us to gloat. See, I knew your punk ass was wrong. You knew you was wrong. That's why you apologized. Nah, sorry. I just got to be raw because that's how it be, right? That's what you don't do. See, you knew you know what I'm saying? Don't rail on him. The Father did some work. He did some work. He had something to do with that person. That's when you give the Most High the praise and be like, you know what? Thank you, Lord. I'm just glad that he see his fault. I'm glad that she see her fault. I'm glad. Now we can walk together. Right?
Yes,
and then we have a big goal, a long goal. What type of steps do we take with that goal? Short steps.
Yeah.
You take short steps. Why? Because y'all ain't past that. You're going to have to go through it again. The Most High just commanded Satan to leave for a season. Give y'all a break. Instead of getting into the scriptures so that and really seeing your fault and watching unto prayer so that you can be better, you pull out the pop. Let me pop some popcorn, babe. You know, pop popcorn, watch movies. And soon Satan attempt to come back, y'all be scrapping right at it again. You like, we can't get along for nothing. What work did you do? What work did you do? Did you do any work? Did you do any studying on you?
Right.
Do we understand what I'm saying? On you. So you got to do some studying on you to make you a different and make you a better individual. The main frame you got to take care of. All right. So let's lose that. So I was reading the definition. We're at Hebrews chapter 12 and 3, the last precept. If you don't consider Christ and how he endured, you will give up. So the last precept, say it again. Which part I'm going to say it a lot. So we're at Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 3. Is that what you want the scripture again, Chris? So the last precept, if you don't consider Christ, if you don't consider Yahushua Christ, you will give up. Why must we consider Yahushua Christ? Because he suffered like fates. Fate, F-A-T-E. The fate. Oh, this is, man, I'm catching, ain't nobody going through this like I'm going through it, man. Everything ain't nothing working for me. People always mad at me. They always complaining. They this, they that. Did we not just read how all these people hated him?
Right.
back to arguing when you don't open the Bible. Okay. Right. So that's just rewind for the brother. I was saying that once the Most High, if he see two people fighting the fight, and y'all doing what y'all doing, and then y'all come on one accord, you know, y'all lovey-dovey and stuff like that, that's good. That's honorable right there. Now, it's time for you to do some soul searching. Most people, instead of doing that, they pop on the movie and Bay is popping popcorn. And soon as you do something, what's going to end up happening? She going to be quick to speak again, out of order, quick to wrath. You going to be a lion because you like, hell no, not in here. That's off. You are wicked. You know, y'all did no work. The Father restored y'all. Y'all went pop popcorn. You supposed to do now the work, man. You supposed to now search the scriptures so that you can see what type of person you have to be in this situation. And then you got to watch. The scriptures say a wise man foreseeth the evil. It's like you see the bus coming down the street. Some of you got that 20/20 eye vision. You can see the bus from 5 blocks away. You're going to step out into the street and you're going to be looking and you're going to see that big old bus way down there coming. That's how you have to watch out for a situation that will unfold in front of you. Oh, okay. I know this is what pisses off. I ain't going to say that. I left this in the floor. I ain't going to do that. This will do that. Oh, him? Oh, I you know, sisters, I know that if I leave it like this, he going to say something. Oh, I know if I don't do that, he going to say something. I know if I don't come right home, he going to say something. I know if I don't do this. So you got to foresee what is the evil? The confrontation, the disagreement, the argument, the words. If I say it like this, sometimes we get tired and we expect others to give you an example. Today I'm at home and I had some wild black walnuts that was on the street. I set them, 2 of them on the porch. Me and Youngblood, we come in, I'm sitting down, we gonna catch a breath for a class. So my wife is going out the door. She hit brakes. You ever heard the car when it's slamming on brakes? The rubber. She hit brakes. She didn't make no disturbance. I'm being human. So she hit brakes. And she come back in. She's like, "What's this on the porch?" I'm like, "Oh, just, you know, pass that up. Just pass that up. Keep going." She's like, "Huh? Well, you ain't got to say it like that." I said, "Well, come back." Because obviously she told me that she was in a rush. She finna go get the kids. Sure, I got, you know, some teenagers that work this little after school job. So I'm like, just pass that up. Don't you let that distract you. That's nothing. Them some wild black walnuts. You know, you tripping off 2 green balls on the porch. That didn't even catch your attention. Just go ahead and pass that. That's nothing. So I had to call her back because I could foresee that if by me saying that, she just misconstrued that I ain't giving a damn, that ain't your business, pass that up. And I didn't mean it like that. I'm just saying that's nothing to worry about. Just go ahead and, you know, keep going. That's nothing right there. I'm finna bring that to, you know, my outdoorsman, you know, Mr. Abunyan. You know, he likes outdoor stuff like that. So I said, no, come back. Because I could foresee that it's going to be, you know what I'm saying, a misunderstanding. So when I say come back, I say, no, it's not like that. I only was thinking that you was curious about what is this. You was in a rush. Don't let that distract. So I had to straighten that thing out to keep from being. So when the scripture say a wise man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself from it, when you see something that's going to unfold, avoid it. That's not your time to roll with the punches, or you let the old man come out and deal with it. No, the new man has got to come out and deal with it. You got to always be spiritual, because if you be carnal, what you think gonna happen? From there, go to the book of Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes is about the spark, brother.
Chapter 19.
How was just start?
No, I'm sorry, 28.
Exactly.
Everything.
Mm-hmm. Ecclesiastes chapter 28 and verse 11.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 28 and verse 11.
That's right.
And hasty contention kindleth the fire.
My metal. Read it again, my metal bottle.
And hasty contention kindleth fire.
And hasty. What is hasty? A hurry. Yeah, you in a hurry. Okay? Meaning, to say, for instance, if you respond and you are already contentious, you understand? Meaning, you're going to fight. Crack your top. Yeah, if you're in a rush and you're going to respond very ill without being slow to speak, slow to wrath, slow to anger. But if you're going to be, if you move in haste, it's going to catch a blaze like the fire pit, like the barbecue pit. And hasty fighting, it shedded blood. So now let's take away the fist fight, the blows. What type of fighting is this referring to? The words. So now if you so quick to say something, you're going to be like, them words are going to be like knives, man, cuts, bullets. They're going to hurt that person. And that's why so many brothers and sisters find it, they have a hard time getting along, because they not ruling their spirit on what they say. They being attacked, so they attack. I said it because you said it. You don't care. I don't care. You understand? You get loud, I get loud. You did it, I did it. Can't be like that. Go ahead.
And if thou blow the spark.
Stop for a second. Relax. Start over.
If thou blow the spark.
You see? We all just go into this like this. You just at the house, man. We just talking. If thou blow the spark, go ahead.
It shall burn.
It shall burn. Okay? So now, the other person got the spark. You don't blow on it. That's what makes your grill flame up. Oxygen. You know those little holes at the bottom of the grill? When that wind comes through there, it comes up, it gets up under there, and it creates that fire. Well, that wind is you. You blowing it, man. You blowing it. You can't do that. If thou blow the spark, it shall burn. Go ahead.
If thou spit upon it.
If now, what is that? Spit upon it? That means if you be spiritual. If you use the water, which is the word, if thou spit upon it, go ahead.
It shall be quenched.
It shall be quenched. The same way that grill is. You know, that's why they have that bottle of water right there. Dump that water over there. Put that fire out. That's how we got to be. We got to always be that water in every situation. You got to know that. Okay? Go ahead.
And both of these came out of thy mouth.
Right. Both of these come out of thy mouth. Meaning there's a choice. Both of these come out of thy mouth. You can, the wind or the spit, or which is the water. Okay? So who's that? Back to Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 3. It says, for consider him that endured such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest you be worried and faint in your hearts. So Israel, you would end up giving up. So we was reading the definition for the third or fourth time of faint, because we don't want to get faint. So it says weak, dizzy, close to losing consciousness, man. That means you just completely, felt you got drawn out of the spirit. You got in a situation and you like, man, I got out of the spirit.
Yeah.
You lost consciousness. Yeah, you lost consciousness. You blacked out. All right. So it says, ye have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin. Come on. Nobody is, you're trying to do the right thing and they're going to put you to death. We haven't got to that point yet. So what's stopping you from being a nice guy? What's stopping you from being a nice sister? What's stopping you, regardless of what other people around you do? I know you brothers and sisters haven't been. You all see us, we was in Kansas City, how GMS was in my face. It was like 4 or 5 of them. It was like right here. And they was cussing and fussing. And coming like dogs at a gate. I was not keen. But you know what? I held the composure. Because I know that people are counting on me to set an example. The old man, Satan, was like, just go ahead and kick it off. Just punch them. Cuss them out. Bring out all their sins. Call them some drunken, whoring Negroes. Because that's exactly what they were out there doing. That is the most sinful place I've seen. And that place was crazy, man. Brothers that was there, that wasn't it all. That was the flesh. That was Sodom. I mean, listen, they had like a 3 or 4 block radius blocked off with police protection. You can do whatever you want to do. It was all out. It was all out fast. Just do you. They were drunk, carrying each other around, and they had the audacity to ask us what we're doing. And they were out there with him. But on another level, you brothers and sisters, you ain't resisted. You're trying to do the right thing, and it costed you blood. You have not resisted unto blood. Striving against sin. So since you haven't, you should look at the situation that you got to fight as tolerable or a little bit more easy. Okay? So now, go back to Luke. We'll finish here. Luke chapter 12 and verse 34 again. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Verse 35, read that out.
Verse 35, let your loins be girded about, and your lights burning.
Let your loins be girded about. Okay? And your lights burning. What is your loins? Your spirit. Okay? And your lights, your actions. Let your actions be seen. Go ahead.
And ye yourselves like unto men that wait for their Lord.
Okay. And ye yourselves, just hold on. And ye yourselves, read it like a story, right? Okay. And ye yourselves like unto men that wait for the Lord. So we got to be like, okay, we're waiting on Yahushua. And us waiting, we know that how we got to be found. We got to be found how? Faithful, man. Diligent, right? Strong. Okay? Go ahead.
When he will return from the wedding, that when he cometh and knocketh, they may open unto him immediately. Blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find watching.
All right. Blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find watching. What does that mean? Like we were looking for him. Not we stopped doing the right thing because it ain't nothing gonna happen. No. Blessed are those servants when he cometh, that he shall find watching. Verily I say unto you that he shall gird himself and make them to sit down to meat. Okay? And will come forth and serve them. That's going into us getting our reward. Okay? So we at Luke chapter 12 and 38. I'll give you a moment, Russell, to get it.
And if he shall come... And
No. We're going to give a brother a chance to get it. He asked where we was. I got it. Go ahead, man. Stop playing, huh? Because I get it. Just go ahead, read it, relax. You got to read it like somebody can understand, like they can understand, like it makes sense. Go ahead.
And if he shall come in the second watch, or come in the third watch.
Right. So you've been watching long enough, and then now it's the second watch. You know, what's the second watch? Let me renew my faith. You know, you grow some, you experience some. You know, because like say for instance, if you got a shift and then now you working, what's a double shift? Is that 16 or 12 hours?
16.
Yes, that's 16. That's the double shift, right? You get a little tired, don't you? They paying you, but you still tired. You get what I'm saying? They paying you for your eyes and your ears. They already know that your skill and your energy has depleted. But you have to physically man up on whatever it is. So in this truth, the second watch, you're tired. So Israel, you got to make it past that first watch. Now your life going to move into the second watch. You can't give in the second watch. You're getting tired. It's just the third watch. You know, you're getting older in this truth. You got gray hairs. You're not as young as you were. You're not as quick as you were. You don't do as much. The Lord still ain't showed up yet. You know, things seem to be getting worse instead of better. You know, we're still in captivity and oppression. You remember the good old days. Ain't no good old days, because these days is few and cold and hard. It's the third watch. It's like, I'm tired. You know, we still can't turn back. So now it says, listen, verse 38, and if he shall come in the second watch or come in the third watch and find them so, blessed are those servants. So regardless of what watch you in your life, you have to be found faithful. Go ahead.
And this know, that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched.
Right, he would have watched. That's any of us. We got possessions. If we knew that a burglar would come, you think we would leave our premises unprotected? No, man, we would show them. We would watch. We would stay there. We would see it. Okay? So just like with Christ, Christ's going to come and no man know it. Read.
And not have suffered his house to be broken through. Be ye therefore ready also.
Be ye therefore ready also. Do we understand what that means? Notice that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would come, that he would have watched. So if you know, because Christ is talking about him coming and you living your life. If you knew exactly when the Messiah would come, then you would prepare yourself to say, well, hey, I'm not going to fall away. But even though you don't know that, you still must prepare your life not to fall away, because he could come on your watch the same way as a burglar could come into your house. Go ahead.
For the Son of Man cometh at an hour when you think not.
Right. Be ye therefore ready, for the Son of Man coming. He coming at an hour when you don't think so. Okay, go ahead.
Then Peter said unto him, Lord, speakest thou this thing, this parable unto us, or even to all? And the Lord said, Who then is that faithful and wise steward, whom his Lord shall make ruler over his household?
What's a steward?
A shepherd.
Okay, what's a steward? Okay, 1 Corinthians 4. Let's see how we can read it and everybody understand what a steward is.
This is the book.
No. Let's see. Read verse 2 first. 1 Corinthians 4 and 2. Read that.
Moreover, it is required in stewards that a man be found faithful.
It is required in stewards that a man be found faithful. Now read verse 1.
Let a man so account of us as of the ministers of Christ.
Go ahead.
And stewards of the mysteries of God.
So what is a steward?
Ministers of Christ.
Okay. And what else?
People who also hold mysteries of God.
Right. People that hold the mysteries of the Lord. Okay. So now let's go back to Luke chapter 12 and verse 42. Read it slow.
And the Lord said, Who then is that faithful and wise steward?
Right. So now you hold the mysteries of the Lord. You're found faithful and you hold the mysteries. Well, who is that? Who then is that faithful and wise steward? Meaning, who then? You're a steward, but have you continued to be faithful? Have you continued to hold these mysteries? Or did you stop holding the mysteries and now you went to whoring? Now you went to drunkenness. You know how many people lead the truth? You started off as a steward. You started off holding the mysteries of the Father. And then you went into sin because on your watch you felt Christ didn't come. Who then is that faithful and wise steward, whom his Lord shall make ruler over his household? That's going into the kingdom. He's going to make you a ruler in the kingdom. Go ahead.
To give them their portion of meat in due season.
Go ahead.
Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing.
Right. So that brother or sister is going to get blessed. Verse 4.
Of a truth I say unto you, that he will make him ruler over all that he had.
What does Christ have? Well, I'll show you. No, but go ahead. We can start throwing it out there, but what was somebody trying to say?
Many mansions.
You got the whole word.
Colossians 1. I think this is it. Colossians 1 and start at 16.
This is the book of Colossians, chapter 1 and verse 16. For by him were all things created that are in heaven, and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions, or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him. And he is before all things, and by him all things consist.
Okay, so now go to Matthew chapter 28. So I read that while you go to Matthew 28. I'm reading Colossians 1 again. Colossians 1:16. For by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones, dominions, principalities, powers. All things were created by him and for him. And for him. Matthew chapter 28 and verse 18.
And Yahushua came and spake unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth.
Right, so the Most High gave all power to Yahushua in heavens, in the spirit world, and in the earth. Now, go back to Luke chapter 12. And verse 44 says, of a truth I say unto you, that he will make him ruler over all that he have. So those brothers and sisters that were found faithful in doing the Lord's will, Christ said, and we just read what everything that he have. Okay, so now hold that and go to Romans 8. Okay, Romans chapter 8 and verse 16.
The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. And if children, then heirs.
And if children, so then if we're found faithful, then we're heirs. Go ahead.
Heirs of God.
Go ahead.
And joint heirs with Christ.
And joint heirs with Christ. So when Christ ruled, we're going to rule too. So it's not going to be like, remember how we read concerning what Simon did? He brought everybody up on the level. Nobody was base. You understand? He put all, yeah. So Christ's going to do more than that. We're going to be joint heirs with Christ. Now here's the key though. So we at Romans chapter 8 and 17. If so be, that we suffer with him. What is the suffering? You know, the job that we have to do about concerning humbling ourselves to teach our people, right, and bring forth unity back in Israel.
Yes, sir.
Right, that's the suffering right there, because now you can't do what you would do, you can't go where you would go, you can't live how you would live, but you're gonna suffer. You're gonna choose to suffer the affliction with the people than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season, because that's how long sin is. It's seasonal and then you die. The wages of sin is death. Look at here. You know, it was just a dead of winter. Then in springtime came. Then summertime came. Now, who is it? It's the fall. Now, it's getting cool. No more 100-degree days. I don't know if we're going to ever get 90s again. Fall is at the door. Then winter again. It's a season. Sin is for a season. Don't choose sin. Choose the commandments. Okay? If so be that we suffer, this is Romans chapter 8 and 17. The middle precept, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together when he come. Go ahead.
For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time
The stuff we got to go through. Go ahead.
are not worthy to be compared
Right. It's not worthy to be compared because we're going to gain rulership over everything that he have. Go ahead.
with the glory which shall be revealed in us.
Right. With the glory that's going to be revealed in us. Go back to Luke chapter 12. I hope we're getting this, Israel. 12 and 44, Luke 12 and 44, of a truth, I say unto you that he will make him ruler over all that he have. Verse 45.
But, and if that servant say in his heart, my Lord delayed his coming.
Right, my Lord delayed his coming. Like, man, it's taking too long. Go ahead.
And shall begin to beat the men servants.
Right, so you're going to go back into being a what? A drunkard and a brawler. And maid servants. Go ahead.
Yep. And to eat and drink and to be drunken.
Right, you go backwards. Go ahead.
The Lord of that servant will come in a day when he looketh not for him.
Right, because time will get away from you. Do we not realize that? Time will get away from you. Next thing you know, you'll look up, 10 years have went by. You'll look up, I promise you, time is, I'm still in this thing, fighting the fight, but time has gotten away. Wow, time has flying, man. Yeah, it's just 21 years old.
Right, that's my first.
Time goes. It doesn't wait. So the Lord of his servants, so there's Luke 12:46, the Lord of his servants will come in a day when he looketh not for him, and at an hour when he is not aware, and will cut him in sunder. So this don't even have to be judgment day, for the end of the world. This could just be the judgment day for you. Because you did what? You turned back from the Lord. And will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers. So this is once a person that believed, and then what did you do? You went backwards. You started sinning. You went back and had fun. When you read verse 45, you had that, that man and woman relationship. You beating on people, you fighting. And you know how common it is for spouses to fight or couples to fight. That's what they call, that's the new acceptable marriage. We're a couple. Oh, really? Okay. Couples to fight, to eat and drink. Where'd y'all go? We went to, what's one of these restaurants out here? Who? Hula Hands. What's that nice one? Out in Clayton. I don't eat that stuff no more, so I can't go. I might not never go again. Brentwood. Maggiano's. Maggiano's. Yeah, man, they got the meat. They got the pastas. That's over for me, man. I gotta eat some beans and carrots. You eat and drink. Name one more. Chris's. What you know about that, man? Y'all ever had? Let me tell you something. It's been about a bunch of years ago. Y'all see this box?
Yep.
It's about 20 years, a little more, 22. But me and these brothers, maybe 25, about 25 years ago. But me and these brothers from New York came out here. And we all went to this steak house called Chris's. The prime rib was the size of this. And it was cooked all the way through. Cooked all the way through. The prime rib was the size of this thing here. I'm not exaggerating. Are you sure you're exaggerating? Yeah, because now now the doggone demon, he gonna give you a little piece like this. So, that's right. You think I jobbing? No, it was this. You was there, right?
I was there.
It was like this. It was about this big.
Yeah.
And about that thick. It was nice too. Oh, it was nice. Yeah, the potato. Man. What size was the potato? The potato was probably half the size of the book.
Yeah, like a real big fan.
Yeah, it was about half this size.
So,
Yeah, we ate like that. And the meal, I think the meal probably was about $30. Yeah, the meal was about $30.
well, I knew one shit. Yeah,
That's a lot.
he about right. About
Yeah.
40. About 40.
It's about 40. I thought it was 30. I thought, because you had to buy everything
No,
separate.
yeah, it was the steak alone.
The
was
steak,
like 30,
the
35.
steak alone, I thought was like $25, 25, 30. Then the potato was like $7, $8, and everything else, everything was separate. You had to buy everything separate. That thing was huge. They had to kill a lot of cows, man, to keep that business up and going. All right. So you can live that type of life. Say, for instance, you're in the world and you eating good. That's what this is talking about. You eat how? Good, man. You eat good. Shit, man, hell with that. Who say, man, what's happening? I don't even know about that no more. Looking good, too. Oh, I look good. You see my new car? I'm looking good. Got my money. Got my side piece. She got a side piece. Shit, I don't care. You living that life. Christ said, okay. Let's see what he gonna say. Verse 46. The Lord of that servant shall come in the day when he looketh not for him. You forgot that you was his servant. You just went back to eat and drink and be drunken. You forgot that you once served him. I'm in Luke 12 and 46. And at an hour when he was not aware. You had dress shoes on. You went to the barber. You know how many times people get themselves together, they clean themselves, they spruce themselves all up, and they die that day. They never thought that that would be the day that they would be destroyed. That happened to a lot of people, man. Don't let it happen to us, because you once served the Lord. I'll be asking about a lot of brothers and all that, and they say, I don't know where he at. He turned back. And I just like, I don't know. Where's this brother at, man? We want to talk to these brothers, man. These brothers taught me, where they at? You know, I want, hey, your word didn't, the seeds that you sowed, brother, they wasn't in vain. I'm looking for you, man. Where you at? They turn backwards. They gone, they turn back. And there's some brothers that's still around that turn back to the Christ. If they don't repent, he's going to deal with them. You know, most of these brothers that's out here teaching, oh, I know them. I wouldn't touch them with your hand. You know, I used to, let me describe this thing real quickly. For some years, I was sad, like a depression, because I missed my brothers. And, I mean, I still had to work, this, that, and the other, but I did miss the brothers because we were organized, and division and Satan caused different splits. And I'm the logical one. And I used to always be the last one to speak in our councils. I let them get it all out, say what they're gonna say, you know, put all their understanding of what they understand and see in the scriptures. And then the Most High, and I was always the youngest one out of all the elders. And I was always the youngest one. Like Timothy, You know, and Paul was telling Timothy, don't let anybody despise his youth. And so that was me. And the Most High would always correct situations using me. And whether it was heard, sometimes I think it was heard, or whatever. So after a lot of split in different directions, I used to always pray that brothers would stop, and the Father would always just, we'll get it together, put us back together, this, that, and the third. And then the Lord would come down on me in dreams. Like, leave these men alone. I tell you they're no good. And so I still see the same brothers now teaching with pride, precepts, and ordinances that they make up. And I understand. So once in this dream, I was in New York, and I was in the second floor, and I think I was in this room, and I was talking to him, and it was going to be the Sabbath, and I said, well, I'm going to go and prepare for the Sabbath, because I then began to feel uncomfortable. And so, but I felt that I wasn't going to be able to leave. And so I go out of the room. I said, I'm going to go to the bathroom. But instead, I run down the steps and out of the door. And once I go out of the door, there was somebody in a tree. Jumped out of the tree on me to stop me. And I was like, damn, I was freaked out. And I was like, okay, that was the Lord saying, leave them alone. So, let me the video with them in the tree. The exact same scenery. The exact same scenery. They're in a damn tree, rapping. I ain't talking about on the ground, in a tree. And all I could do is have flashbacks of this. I said, oh my God. And so when I talked to one of these other elders from back in the day and told them about this dream, I said, man, those brothers are keeping brothers from leaving against their will. A lot of brothers have scare tactics. You know, they get you involved and then they scare you like you're going to be killed, you know, by your Hawashai. If you leave or if you do this, it's no hope, you know. And that's not the reason why I taught that class the other day concerning, despite and regardless of what you've done, you need to repent. You understand? But we was also taught that, you know, if you sin, you know, you out of the truth forever. The Most High ain't never gonna take you back. When the truth is, we're gonna sin throughout our life. We're gonna make mistakes. Some people gonna make big mistakes. Some of you might not. You're not gonna make it back. You're not gonna make it back from that sin. So don't tempt the Most High. I'm definitely not teaching you to tempt the Lord. Go out there and be wicked and then come back like Manasseh did. You might not make it back, man. But I definitely can't blow the wind out your sail by telling you that it's over for you because you committed some sin, whatever the act is. Because that's not for me to tell you. It's for me to tell you to repent. And for you to, you know, set your heart aright. So I was saying that some of those brothers, they know we're around. They went back off into this world and they ain't making it back. Okay? They're not making it back. So when we read Luke chapter 12, And 46, the Lord of that servant will come in a day when he looketh not for him, and in an hour when he is not aware, and will cut him in sunder. That's referring to somebody that went back into this. They went backwards. So we don't want to go back, because you will be judged for that. And will appoint him with his portion with the unbelievers. The unbelievers, there is no redemption for them. It's eternal damnation. Some brothers are teaching that you just going to be destroyed and be reborn into the kingdom. That's not true. If you get destroyed and you experience a second death, that's it. That's it. You're not going to be reborn back into the kingdom. If that's the case, you can just forsake the scriptures now, live wicked, do everything you want to, let God destroy you, and you just be born into the kingdom. Not the scriptures say the same after death shall know it by pain. So then which one is it? So don't believe that hype. Don't take that chance. Oh, well, you're going to be destroyed, and then you're going to be born. You're going to be reborn back into the kingdom as a little child. No. Now, we die. If we don't resurrect, we're going to be born back into the kingdom. But we come through a bloodline, a lineage. The same way that you were born and you came into this earth, you're going to be born and come into this earth again. That doesn't mean that you can be evil, wicked, and then, you just inherit. It doesn't work like that. It's the Most High's option and discretion who takes part in that resurrection. Right. So a brother said that would mean that the commandment keepers are keeping the commandments for nothing. Right. So do everybody understand that? It's up to the Most High to say who's at ground zero. Ground zero is Isaiah 14. Well, first of all, that's ground zero. That's ground zero is like when the work began. So we got to have the feast. We're going to subdue the earth and have the feast. And you're going to take the servants, the slaves, and you're going to put them into their place, right? So now, people that are alive and people that resurrect from the dead, let's say that's the first resurrection. That's ground zero. But they are going to have children. Those lineages that the Most High promised all of those souls, their fathers, their children are going to be born back unto them into this earth. It ain't no new souls. All souls with the Father. He created them all. And they all numbered down to the hair on their heads. So there ain't no new thing in this earth. So either you're going to make it or you're not going to make it. The ones that are destroyed, you got eternal damnation. Eternal damnation do exist. I'll get it and show you. Let's see. You know what I'm looking for, Yash?
Revelation 14,
What did it say?
talking about the same show.
Eternal damnation. Just say it. Bear with me, Israel. You say,
There's something in Revelation 14.
there you go. Your sister brought it out. Mark 3. Thank you. Hmm? Right. Mark 3 and 28, it says, verily I say unto you, I give y'all a moment to get it. Thank you, brother. Much love for the support. Mark 3 and 28, verily I say unto you, all sins are forgiven unto the sons of men, and blasphemies wheresoever they blaspheme. Okay, so they would speak evil one of another. Okay, they might even speak evil of Yahushua. But see, the forgiving part is that they will stand corrected, because a lot of people have spoken against the Son of Man and then realized that they went off. And then remember, like Paul, how he was a blasphemer, but he was forgiven. Okay, because he still corrected. Verse 29, but he that shall blaspheme against the Holy Ghost. The Holy Ghost is the Spirit of truth. It's the Spirit that we walk in. Okay? So a lot of people don't understand by saying that what we're doing is a cult, that's blaspheming the Holy Ghost. They don't understand how serious that is. That stuff don't work. That's junk. The white man wrote that. I'll never do that. Those are that's blasphemy. Right? So it says, have never forgiveness. So if they have never forgiveness, how are they going to get killed for blaspheming and then get the reward of life eternal? Because they never did the work. They never made the sacrifices that we made. But is in danger of eternal damnation. So eternal damnation, it does exist. And there's going to be some people that gonna hit it. And they gonna bust it wide open. It's going to be full of unbelievers. Eternal damnation is. And you don't get out of that. So we're trying to avoid us getting into that situation of eternal damnation. Okay? By not entangling ourselves with this world. Okay? So now, thanks again for that precept. So I was looking for exactly the one I was looking for. Let's go back to Luke. We'll finish here. Yeah, Luke chapter 12 and 47. And that servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. That's why we suffer the things that we suffer, because we know the Lord's will. That's Yahweh Shai. We know we're supposed to be like him. We know that we're supposed to cut things off. We know we're supposed to make sacrifices. And prepare not himself. How do you prepare yourself? By studying to make yourself stronger. By praying, constantly endure. Purging. When you purge, that means you cut off, right? Neither did according to his will shall be beaten. So we're going to go through it. But he that knew not and committed things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with what? Few stripes. So this is a person that's not as far along as another person. This is what this is going into. This is a person that's not as far along as another person, and it's going to prove it. For unto whomsoever much is given. So you give it much, this other person's given least. The responsibility that I have and the responsibility that Youngblood have is two different responsibilities. Of him shall be much required. So if the Lord give you much, that is required of you. So if he taught you about dietary laws, then you must keep the dietary law. He taught you about how to groom yourself, then you must groom yourself according to the law. He taught you high holy days. You must keep the high holy days. He taught you, another person don't fully understand it. How many people kept blowing of the trumpets? You got some that like, one brother's like, yo, what do I do? We know fully what to do. Is it that two people that believe in the Most High in Christ, serving the Most High in Christ, but one know fully what to do, and one is like, what do I do? You see? So if he give that to you, then you're required to set that day aside and have that holy convocation, so that this thing be a memorial. So when your sons and your daughters ask you, what meaneth this? You can say, this is how the Lord called the calling of the assembly. This is how the Lord taught us to sound the alarm when there was predators, when there was going to be an invasion. This is when there was captains of the, if he teach you that, then you're required to do that. Okay? So we at Luke 12:48. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more. Okay? So now what does that mean? That last part, that's it. Let y'all answer that. And of whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more. Clue for 500?
Yeah, I got one.
You got a clue or you got the answer?
I got the answer.
Patience. What is it then?
They would ask for more understanding.
Who is the man?
Disciples.
You don't know. And to whom men have committed much. Of him they will ask the more. To whom is the teachers? The men is the students. Students have committed much. of him. In other words, people expect something from you. The Most High expects something from you. People expect something from you. You think people don't expect you to set examples? They commit themselves unto you, meaning they submit themselves unto you. If people are submitting themselves unto you, they expect you to be right. Now do y'all understand? Okay. They expect you to be exceptional? Inception, okay, inception. Yeah, they expect something from you. Like you sisters in here, when sisters submit themselves unto you, meaning they listen to you, just like you. If y'all sisters, these sisters been around, and y'all gonna submit yourselves unto them, you're gonna submit yourself to their counsel, to their advice, to their teachings, to their instructions, to their example sets, don't you expect something from them? You're going to expect more from them. You're going to expect them to continue to feed you, right? And to maintain that level of faith, application, and glow, right? That's how it is. So always remember that. Don't never let your light stop burning. Because when people commit themselves unto you, the same. Well, what? How's it said? No. They will ask the more. They will ask the more. Do we understand it now? They will ask the more. So they will always be looking for more from you. So that's it, Israel. Shalom. Anybody questions concerning the lesson? Any questions on here concerning the lesson? To much is given, much is required. Name of the class. Okay, no questions. This thing, it never lets me see the person. Because I know nothing about the high holy days or how to keep them. I know the Sabbath. Well, Miss Sandra, this is my recommendation. I know you've been in classes. You should turn that notification. Much is given, much is required. Much is required. So now listen. Listen. Don't get distracted. And turn the alert on, attend every class, set your schedules around learning. We're going to teach you every high holy day in the Bible. We are going to do every high holy day in the scriptures. Who is that? You got to stop. We're going to do every high holy day in the scriptures. We go over the high holy days before they come. Okay? So next, we're going to be going over the atonement. We're going to be going over the Day of Atonement coming up. Before the Day of Atonement. Because this understanding of atonement is something is not typical. Okay? It's written and you'll see it. That's how you learn. You can also, say for instance, you want to research or study a certain high holy day, you can just go to the Facebook, type my name in, and then type Tabernacles, and that class will pop up. Blowing on trumpets, that class will pop up. Atonement, that class will pop up. Purim, Nicanor, dedication of the altar. You understand? First fruits, the class will pop up. Okay? But we'll show you. We'll show you how to keep it using the scriptures and everything. The fellowship and everything. Okay? So, you'll go from not knowing to knowing. All right? So, any other questions? Oh, somebody said Matthew 25. What about Matthew 25? Does that pertain to the lesson? Matthew 25 and what, sis? There's 46 verses. Yes, sir, Brother Damon. All praises. Matthew 26. Maybe he was trying to say that. Israel, make sure y'all please start a class. Support the General Assembly with something as simple as helping us get this class out there. And also, you brothers and sisters that do not belong to a congregation, we welcome you to join the General Assembly. Help us push this truth. Help us build sanctuaries everywhere in spirit and truth according to these laws, statutes, and commandments. And get this truth out there, okay? Just because you are hundreds of miles away does not mean that you are not family and you cannot be a part of the congregation, okay? You're definitely a part of the nation already, okay? It's just give you a home base, someplace where you can get counsel and advice, get spiritual and moral, even financial support if needed, if we have it. Okay, so just, food for thought. Okay. So now Matthew chapter 26 and verse 6. Now when Christ was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahweh Christ of Nazareth understood it, he said unto them, why trouble you the woman? For she hath wrought the good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me you have not always. For in that shall I pour this ointment on my body. She did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman have done be told for a memorial of her. Why is that? Because this sister, when she acknowledged and saw her sins and faults, she felt sorry for her sins to the point to where she resulted in coming to the Lord asking for forgiveness. And that's the type of example that he wants to be preached about, okay? So all praises to the Most High for giving this sister the spirit to come forth and give Christ some comfort for his burial, and also bringing forth a beautiful example of a broken and contrite heart. Okay. The Lord's Communion, 1 Corinthians 11 and 23. Is that's the communion bread in the box? Is that it?
Yeah.
That's no box. All right. So while the brother is making the communion, I guess one of the sisters that was here, Kenyatta, the brother had to take her to the hospital because I think she had asthma or something like that, flared up or something. So if just keep her in mind, keep her in your prayers and stuff like that. So, and let's get in the habit of when something is wrong with one another, praying one for another. Let's get into that habit. The scriptures say the prayer of a righteous man availeth much. So it's always good to have, brothers and sisters there having your back, praying, asking the Most High to heal you, to heal you, to forgive you, make you whole again, show you the things that you don't see, if sins were done, stuff like that. You understand? And even if possible, to move your spirit to be of some type of help and assistance if needed. So I think first and foremost, by us knowing that the Most High is going to do what he's going to do, what does that do for our character? What does that show the Most High about us? That we actually love our people. You understand? And that is something that is commanded for us to love one another. That's the new commandment, that we love one another. But is that really new? It's just reintroduced to us for us to love one another. And loving one another consists of actually being concerned about a brother's health and welfare the same way that they themselves. When something is happening, don't you know the mental trauma that a person is going through when they sick, they're sad, their spirit is down, they praying, they wondering. You understand? Instead of us looking like, you got jacked up. What happened? What'd you do? Instead of that, they know, the Most High know if there's anything. Like I said, actually, some things we go through for the grace of the Lord, so that we can experience this thing, keep our faith level up, fight through that, and then help somebody else understand the life that they have to live while they going through that certain same like quality situation. So it's good to prefer one another, to think about a brother or a sister, when they going through certain things, instead of thinking evil about them, praying for them, and going, actually go to them. All right, go to them if need be. If you can't get to them, pray for them. Okay, so 1 Corinthians 11:23, for I received of the Lord that which also I delivered unto you, that Hamashiach Yahushua, where it says Lord Jesus, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread, and when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you. See where right here it says, this do in remembrance of me. This is Christ, okay, giving Israel what? Commandments to do it. So Israel, we must do the communion of the Lord. And brothers and sisters, you're on the other end, you most definitely need this. Something as small as this. Say a little shot glass, some type of unleavened bread. A cracker is bread. Don't let it be, because don't let them be like, well, it's a cracker, that's not bread. No, it's breaded. It's breaded. You understand? It's made without yeast, so it's unleavened. Okay? We must take the communion. You brothers and sisters, we're coming up in these assemblies and congregations and sanctuaries and camps, and you're not communion, that's not the scriptures. You must commune. It's a memorial to remember the Savior and his life and what he did. That wine represents his blood that was spilled. That bread represents his body that was broken. That's why I said, this which was broken for you, this do in remembrance of me. After the same manner, also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as oft as ye drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you do show the Lord's death till he come. It's like you're walking it, like you're doing what Christ did. That's what this is. You're doing what Christ did. This is like saying, hey, I'm doing what you did. Now just imagine everybody that's repented doing what he did. We're recovering the nation. We're building a nation. We're edifying the nation. We're making a difference. We're changing things. Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily shall be guilty, okay, of the body and blood of the Lord. Now listen to this class where I was explaining what unworthily is. What is unworthy? And you doesn't deserve it. Yeah, you doesn't deserve it. This we must deserve. Because this comes with a light, an acknowledgement, a recognition of the glory that was on Christ. He asked the Father, the Most High, to glorify us. You don't, if you're not right, you don't deserve that glory. But let a man examine himself. So it's not for me. I'm going to look at you. I'm going to say, you're not worth it. Nope. You got to examine yourself to see, are you serious? Are you committed? Are you all in? Like Peter said, not just my feet, but my hand and my heads. So let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. For he that eateth and drink it unworthily, eat it and drink it damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body. I mean, not caring about the body of Christ, which is his church. For this cause, many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. How do we judge ourselves? Just stop sinning. But when we are judged, we're chastened. If you got to stop, you trust and believe, you're going to pay for it. Some of you think that you're just going to pay for a small amount of time. Oh, man. He's going to change your life, for life. It's not worth it. But when we are judged by the chastening of the Lord, that we should not be condemned with the world. Okay? Most High in the name of Christ, thank you for the food and drink. Amen. Amen. This is body which is broken for you. This is blood. Okay, Israel, we're going to stand and face Jerusalem. That's it. Let's go. Okay, Israel.
If every man was just like me, what kind of sanctuary would this be?
Do y'all ever imagine that? If you feel a little iffy, like, all you gotta do is start fixing it. And so when you start saying that, you can say it and you can be proud. Like, regardless of what you know, all you gotta do is just be good at what you know. And you're okay. The Lord's Prayer, Matthew 6:9. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. In Yahweh's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
The laborer's prayer, Luke 10:2.
Therefore said he unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the labors are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest, that he would send forth laborers into his harvest. Bless you, Most High, King of heaven and earth, and all things Most High, in the name of the Christ. Send more disciples and teachers to your harvest, to gather your people Israel, and send counsel behind your laws, to stand before thy people Israel. Give to us strength to break down all lies with thy word. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
The blessing of Israel. Numbers chapter 6 and 24. Children of Israel, the Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And in Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Children of Israel, bless one another.
Most High in the name of Christ, bless you all.
So tonight is the night. So she got the order. And all the money at the house. So if you got
If I got what?
if you got
Shalom, shalom. What's up, bro? All praises, all right? Most High Yahweh shall bless. That's right, brother. Shalom, Felipe, Damon, Francisco. Who else is on? Harold.
Invalid option. Conference recording stopped. There are 2 attendees in this conference.
Glad to hear that, sister. Who's left on conference? Oh, go ahead. That was you? Okay. All right, hey, have a good evening. See y'all soon. Did you, hey Tammy, you was able to get that air fixed?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you told me. He's just straight wired, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
She did a bypass, do it for the memory board.
Right. She's gonna come back and get that.
Yeah, he said he was, but
He made it yet.
yeah, but it's still going though for now. So.
All right, sir.
all right,
Okay.
so I speak, all right.
All right.
All right, y'all. Share the video. Y'all just jumped in. Akusta, hello sis, how you doing? Share the video before y'all go. All right. Also, what's up, brother Jay? Y'all should go back and watch the class. Jarael, call me tonight. I'll praise the Most High in Christ later and about to get prepared for bed, brother. That's right, Doc. Get prepared, Doc. All right, y'all. Shalom.